Hey guys, tonight we're slipping quietly through a linen-curtained archway into ancient Egypt, more specifically, the private harem quarters of a pharaoh's palace, deep in the heart of nighttime Thebes. You'll feel the dust under your sandals, hear the distant croak of river toads, and smell frankincense still lingering in the air from the late evening prayers. But don't get too comfortable just yet. This isn't a stroll through a sleepy museum. This is your first night as one of the chambermaids serving the pharaoh's inner sanctum. There are rules, glances that last too long, and whispers in the dark you're better off pretending you didn't hear. And if you think this job comes with soft beds and endless luxury, you probably won't survive this. Turns out, divine royalty has a divine way of keeping everyone on edge. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, while you're settling in, post your location and local time down in the comments. I love seeing where you're listening from. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You arrive under a moon that's nearly full, its pale light brushing the domed rooftops of the palace with silver. The guards at the entry arch don't greet you. They're too busy eyeing the ceremonial leopard painted on your papyrus appointment slip. It's creased from your nervous hands, but still legible enough. It bears the mark of the chief attendant of the pharaoh's harem. Not the kind of seal you argue with. You step in barefoot, as instructed. The first shock is the coolness of the tiled corridor under your soles. The harem quarter is hushed, cloistered, and smells faintly of blue lotus, crushed almonds, and the particular damp of stored linen. You've never seen so much fabric in your life. The ceilings ripple with it. The walls are lined in it. Even the women around you move like living sails, their gowns clinging and drifting with the warm breeze that flows in from the river. The senior attendant, a woman named Hennet, doesn't say hello. She just raises one kohl-darkened eyebrow and gestures for you to follow. No speaking yet, not until your feet touch the room where you'll sleep. The room, by the way, is not your own. You're led through 2 courtyards and a room filled with elaborate foot baths before arriving at what looks like a shadowy nook behind a woven curtain. 6 chambermaids are already there, whispering and rubbing oil into their arms. One of them glances at you, then back to a small obsidian mirror. A tiny flame glints off the copper bowl she holds, liquid myrrh, steaming gently. Hennet clears her throat. Everyone freezes. You are to rest here when not summoned. You are not to speak after moonrise unless the priestess or the queen herself addresses you. You will wake before Ra shows his crown. You will never, ever, enter the central chamber unless called. Her eyes fall on you specifically. Especially you. There's no bed. Just a sleeping mat. Woven palm reed, stitched to a leather backing, probably softened by many restless backs before yours. At its head, a wooden object shaped like a smile, your headrest. It looks more like something you'd find in a torture chamber, if you're honest. But everyone else is settling in without complaint. You do the same. A breeze blows through the screen wall, sending a ripple through the fabric divider and a burst of cold into your neck. One of the older maids notices your shiver and tosses you a folded linen wrap, slightly stained, but it smells like rosewater. A luxury, you're told silently, with the tiniest arch of her brow. From somewhere above, a low flute begins to play. Not for you, it's likely for the upper harem, the queen's circle. But the notes float through the corridors anyway, like lullabies for shadows. You lay back. The headrest forces your chin skyward. A position not entirely unlike the painted sarcophagi you've seen in funerary scrolls. Apparently, that's intentional. Sleep is the rehearsal for death, or so they say. Charming. A beetle crawls past your mat. You flick it away lazily, now too tired to care. You've been told the real threats don't crawl. They whisper. They listen. They punish. Someone nearby sighs. Not with exhaustion, but nostalgia. The kind of sound that means, here we go again. And suddenly, it hits you, you're not just here to sweep and dress the queen. You're part of something older, heavier, and far more intricate than the golden amulets or ceremonial fans suggest. This place hums with layered silence. Every routine is a ritual. Every ritual is watched. And every watchful gaze reports upward. Historians still argue whether the harem was purely domestic or political, whether these chambermaids were merely glorified housekeepers, or silent spies embedded by the priesthood, or daughters of nobles serving spiritual penance. But one thing's agreed upon, nothing that happened in these quarters was truly mundane. Especially not the way they slept. As you begin to drift, someone gently places a smooth stone beside your mat, a sleep token. It's shaped like a frog, the goddess Hecate, protector of childbirth and rest. No one speaks. The gesture is small, but sacred. Later, you'll learn each maid receives a different token. Some have jackals. Some, scarabs. One unlucky girl always gets the ibis. She's convinced it's a bad omen. The others let her believe it, because it keeps her quiet. Outside, the Nile breathes slow against its banks. Inside, dreams are tightly bound, like linen on a mummy. Safe, if wrapped just right. You wake not to the sound of a rooster or a temple gong, but to the soft scrape of a reed broom moving sand across stone. It's still dark, but the stars are fading. A chambermaid is sweeping just outside your doorway, murmuring a song under her breath, nothing you'd recognize, but it's oddly soothing, like the way a mother might hum while folding clothes. Hennet returns without announcement. One look, and you're up on your feet. Your joints crack like dried papyrus as you straighten. No stretching here, not unless you want the side eye from the older girls. You learned last night that even waking is a ritual in this place. Your first assignment is simple, deceptively so, the evening cleansing, which, ironically, happens just before dawn. The palace believes that to sleep without purification is to invite bad spirits into your dreams. Which means even if you already slept, you'll do this anyway, to remind your body and mind where you are, and whom you serve. The basin room is underground. You follow the scent first, lotus, tamarind, a whiff of copper that might be old blood or fresh coin. Then the heat. The chamber is warm, almost too warm, like a forgotten oven at the end of a long day. A stewardess, eyes rimmed in soot, points wordlessly to a row of squat stools beside a stone trough. You sit, and she pours. Water, scented with blue lotus and cedar oil, sluices down your back. It's not relaxing. It's ceremonial. The basin ritual isn't just about getting clean. It's about washing off the world. Every morning, before you sleep again, you must remove all trace of your outer life, the jealousy, the wandering thoughts, the frustration of trying to balance on a headrest shaped like a cruel grin. You're not allowed to speak during the wash. Not even to yelp when the water's too cold or the clay scrub stings a cut on your foot. You feel hands. They aren't gentle. Someone is rubbing your arms down with fine river sand, mixed into paste with lemon and date vinegar. It scrapes a little. Not unpleasant, but intense. Good skin is quiet skin, whispers one girl beside you. Quiet skin. You make a mental note never to trust anyone whose elbows gleam like polished ivory. They've been here too long. One curious tradition takes place just as the water finishes, the moon bowl. It's a simple ceramic dish filled with still water and placed on the ground before each of you. You're instructed to stare into it for several breaths and then, without warning, dunk your right hand inside. Why? Because it fools the night spirits, the stewardess murmurs when she sees your hesitation. They think you've already dreamt. They move on. Historians still debate whether this was religious belief or harem superstition, or simply a clever way to regulate emotions. Either way, you find yourself obeying. And oddly, it does feel like the shadows leave you alone afterward. The water's surface ripples. Your reflection breaks. You feel the tension slip, just slightly. The last step is the linen drying chamber. Heated stones warm the fabric wraps, so they're gentle against your skin. You're given a fresh one, undyed, coarse but clean. It smells of crushed barley and faint smoke. You wrap yourself tightly, from shoulders to knees, in a crisscross pattern you were taught in training but never really understood. A nearby girl has hers folded just so, the edge tucks perfectly into the waistband, forming a triangle. That one's a favorite, someone mutters. Gets picked for scenting duty every third night. So, the way you wear your linen? It matters. Apparently, Ev. Back in your chamber, the sun is just beginning to line the horizon with gold. You're meant to rest now. For chambermaids in the Pharaoh's court, true sleep comes in the morning hours, when the world is louder, yes, but when the palace is silent. The queen is in prayer. The guards are changing shifts. And no one remembers to spy on the lower quarters. You crawl back onto your mat, now feeling slightly damp and oddly heavier, like your body has accepted its new role, but your spirit hasn't quite caught up. The girl beside you turns over and mutters in half-sleep, "Don't kick off the linen. If the breeze hits your legs, the feather keeper gets twitchy." You have no idea what that means. But you tuck in your wrap a little tighter. Above your mat, someone's carved a tiny image into the stone wall. A baboon, wearing a scribe's wig. You stifle a laugh. One of Thoth's forms, the god of wisdom, yes, but also sarcasm. The chambermaids have a sense of humor, it seems. Still, every joke here has a cost. Even that silly baboon was probably scratched in haste during a shift change. As you lie back and let your eyelids fall, the scent of cedar still clinging to your arms, you wonder, what else are you meant to unlearn before sleep? Because that's what this place does. It unteaches you. Your idea of rest? Not soft beds and sleepy tea, here, rest is earned through ritual. Through exactness. Through knowing when not to ask. And when your body finally relaxes, the last thought you have before sleep takes you is whether the moon spirits are still fooled by that little bowl of water, or whether they're just pretending to be. The hours before dawn are heavy with quiet, but the palace never truly sleeps. Your new life in the Pharaoh's harem unfolds under this cloak of twilight hush, where every shadow might hide a secret and every whisper could carry weight beyond its sound. You find yourself drawn to the daily rhythm of the chambermaids, how they move with measured grace, careful to avoid disturbing the sacred balance of the quarters. Their routines are more than chores, they are an intricate dance of tradition and necessity, often invisible to those outside the palace walls. One morning, as the soft amber light spills through the lattice windows, you follow Hennet to the perfume ritual, a centuries-old practice to prepare both body and soul for the day. This isn't your average spritz of fragrance. No, here the scents are steeped in magic and meaning, ambergris, frankincense, and a delicate jasmine oil rumored to be favored by Nefertari herself. You watch as Hennet carefully dips a reed brush into a bowl of fragrant oils, then traces subtle patterns on each maid's wrists and neck, marks invisible to the casual eye but believed to guard against restless spirits and ill fortune. The scent lingers, soothing and strange, wrapping around you like a warm shawl. Historians still argue whether these perfuming ceremonies were purely spiritual or served as coded signals within the palace hierarchy. Some suggest the scents helped the queen's spies recognize loyal servants from afar, while others believe they were simple acts of self-care imbued with ritual significance. In this perfumed haze, you learn the importance of silence, not just the absence of sound, but a language unto itself. Speaking too much could draw attention, speaking too little might be seen as disloyalty. The chambermaids navigate this delicate balance with practiced ease, exchanging glances and subtle gestures that speak volumes beneath the calm surface. Later, during a rare break by the Nile's edge, you overhear a whispered tale about the sleep serpent, a mythical creature said to visit only the most devoted servants in their dreams, offering visions of future events or warnings of unseen dangers. Some say the serpent's presence is a blessing, others, a heavy burden. You find the story oddly comforting, imagining the serpent weaving through the cool night air like a silver thread. You also discover the strange practice of dream journals, kept by select chambermaids, tiny papyrus scrolls where dreams are recorded in cryptic symbols, passed discreetly among trusted friends. These journals might hold clues to hidden messages or palace intrigues, but their true purpose remains a mystery. As you settle back into your mat that night, the scent of jasmine still clinging to your skin, you wonder how much of your new world exists in the waking hours and how much lives in dreams, whispered secrets, and scented shadows. You wake again, this time to the distant croak of frogs near the palace gardens, a gentle reminder that life carries on beyond the walls where you sleep. The gardens themselves are a maze of green, carefully tended by unseen hands, but more importantly, they serve as the backdrop for one of the chambermaids' most curious rituals, the gathering of night blooms. The ritual begins just as the sun dips below the horizon. You're led by Hennet to a secluded courtyard where strange flowers unfurl only in the twilight, the blue lotus, the night-blooming jasmine, and a delicate vine called the moonflower. Each carries a scent that's meant to lull the mind and body closer to rest. The chambermaids don't just pick these blooms. They craft them into garlands and small sachets, placing them under their pillows or inside their wraps, believing these floral charms shield them from nightmares and restless spirits. The aroma is subtle but persistent, a whisper of softness in the otherwise austere palace. You're handed a small basket and encouraged to join. The vines are thorny and tricky, requiring patient fingers that don't rush or bruise the fragile petals. Your hands soon smell of earth and sweet nectar, a faint sweetness that clings for hours. What strikes you is the careful choreography involved. There's no loud laughter, no hurried plucking. Each maid moves with a rhythm that feels less like work and more like prayer, a slow, deliberate communion with the night itself. Historians still debate whether this gathering was a practical source of perfumes and medicines or a symbolic act connecting the chambermaids to the cycles of the moon and nature. Some think it was a secret language of resistance, a way for women confined to palace life to find moments of freedom and control. As the garlands take shape, Hennet whispers that the flowers also hold a curious power, to soften the mind. In the long, quiet hours before sleep, when thoughts might spiral or worries creep in, these blooms are said to calm the nerves and coax the soul into gentleness. You catch yourself wondering if that's why the chambermaids are so calm, so composed even in the face of palace intrigue and the pharaoh's unpredictable moods. Maybe the flowers do more than perfume the air, they perfume the spirit. That night, as you tuck a sachet beneath your pillow, you notice a faint shimmer in the moonlight filtering through the lattice. It dances softly on the walls, like the echo of an unseen lullaby. You think back to the sleep serpent and its silver thread. Maybe, just maybe, these blooms are part of the same quiet magic woven through your days and nights here. And as your eyes finally close, the scent of moonflower clinging gently to your skin, you feel the palace breath with you, a living, whispering place that never truly sleeps. Morning arrives in muted hues, a gentle wash of ochre and rose through the palace's open windows. You're already awake, tangled in your linen wrap, feeling the familiar tug of anticipation mixed with quiet dread. Today is the day of the Pharaoh's inspection, an event whispered about with a mix of reverence and subtle fear among the chambermaids. Your role? To assist in the preparation of the Pharaoh's private chambers, a space shrouded in ritual and legend, where even the air seems charged with power. As you step through the cool stone corridors, you notice the faintest shimmer of incense smoke curling up from bronze censers, filling the halls with a scent both calming and commanding. The chambermaids move silently, each with a specific task, laying out silk sheets, polishing alabaster vessels, arranging fresh-cut lotus flowers in delicate bowls. The work is exacting, precise. There's no room for error when the Pharaoh's eyes may rest on your handiwork. You pause at the foot of the grand bed, its canopy embroidered with gold thread depicting the sun god Ra's journey across the sky. The bed itself is surprisingly simple, crafted from native acacia wood, but it carries centuries of stories, power, and expectation. Hennet whispers a story you hadn't heard before. The Pharaoh's chamber is said to be protected by the silent watchers, invisible guardians who observe every movement, ensuring loyalty and devotion. Some chambermaids swear they've felt cold breath on their necks or glimpsed shadowy figures just beyond the torchlight. Whether these watchers are spirits, palace guards, or simply the weight of tradition is a question historians still debate. But the effect is the same. The room hums with an invisible tension, a reminder that even the smallest mistake could ripple outward with serious consequences. As you carefully arrange a small dish of sweet figs and honey, you recall the peculiar practice of whispered blessings. Before the pharaoh retires, selected chambermaids gather around the bed to softly recite blessings meant to soothe his spirit and ensure peaceful sleep. The words are ancient, lost to most but passed down here in whispered fragments, their true meaning wrapped in mystery. You try to mimic the murmurs, feeling the vibrations hum through your chest. It's oddly calming, as if the chant itself invites sleep to settle gently over the room. Then, as the pharaoh enters with a slow, deliberate step, the chambermaids fall silent. You watch from the shadows, heart pounding, as he moves through his chambers, his gaze distant yet penetrating, as if reading secrets not just in the room but in your very soul. Later, in the quiet aftermath, you wonder about the stories you've heard, the silent watchers, the whispered blessings, the sacred order that governs even the most private moments. How much of it is truth, and how much palace myth designed to keep you in line? That night, as you lie wrapped in linen and lotus scent, you find yourself listening for the silent watchers. But all you hear is your own slow breathing, and the faint, reassuring murmur of the palace settling into sleep. The palace settles into a different kind of quiet now, the deep silence of midday heat where even the cicadas seem to pause. It's during these long, still hours that the chambermaids observe their most secret and delicate ritual, the midday rest, or the pharaoh's pause, a moment where sleep itself becomes a sacred act. You learn quickly that this isn't just a nap, it's a carefully crafted practice designed to reset both body and mind amid the relentless demands of palace life. The chambermaids retire to a small, shaded chamber, lined with soft mats and scattered with fragrant herbs. The air is thick with the gentle aroma of chamomile and dried lotus petals, which Hennet swears slow time itself. Here, the ritual unfolds with a slow precision. First, a light massage with oils infused with blue lotus and myrrh, believed to soothe restless nerves and invite gentle dreams. Then, a series of breathing exercises, a calm focus on inhaling the warm, herb-scented air and exhaling the worries that gather like dust in the mind. You lie down among your companions, feeling the cool rush of linen against your skin. Your thoughts begin to soften, unraveling from their tight knots as the rhythmic breathing guides you closer to sleep. The air hums faintly, as if the walls themselves are breathing with you. Historians still argue whether this midday rest was a health necessity or a spiritual practice rooted in ancient Egyptian beliefs about the soul's journey through the day. Some suggest it was a way to honor the sun god Ra's cycle, a mini-death and rebirth that mirrored his passage through the sky. As your eyelids grow heavy, you overhear a hushed conversation about the dream mirrors, small polished bronze discs some chambermaids keep under their pillows, believed to capture fragments of dreams for later interpretation. These mirrors are rarely spoken of outside trusted circles and often linked to prophetic visions or warnings. The notion feels strangely comforting. You imagine the mirrors reflecting not just your dreams but the very pulse of palace secrets, shimmering with quiet power in the dim light. When you finally awaken, the shadows have shifted, and the palace feels different, lighter, somehow, as if the pause has reset its ancient heartbeat. You stretch your limbs, carrying with you the lingering calm of the ritual, ready to face whatever the afternoon holds. Remembering the jasmine sachets from earlier and the sleep serpent's whispered promise, you begin to see how every ritual, every scent, every quiet breath fits into the delicate tapestry of palace life, one woven not just of duty, but of dreams and secret hope. The afternoon fades gently into early evening, a time when the palace's shadows grow long and the air thickens with the scent of roasted barley and sweet dates. As you wander through the servants' quarters, you overhear the soft hum of a lullaby drifting from a nearby chamber, a song you'll soon learn is far more than just a simple tune. Tonight's ritual centers on the lullabies of the Nile, an ancient tradition practiced exclusively by the pharaoh's chambermaids to soothe not only themselves but also the restless spirits believed to linger near the river's edge. These lullabies, passed down through generations, are said to carry protective magic within their melodies. You're invited to join the circle, where the chambermaids sit cross-legged on woven mats, their voices low and steady, weaving stories of river gods and gentle currents. The song is hypnotic, each note a soft ripple on a calm pond, inviting your mind to drift like a small boat on a quiet night. You learn the lullabies vary by region and mood. Some are meant to calm anger, others to ease sorrow, and a few, surprisingly, to stir courage in the face of uncertainty. One song, The Whispering Papyrus, tells of a reed that sings to travelers lost in the desert, guiding them home. Historians still argue whether these lullabies were originally spiritual prayers or practical songs designed to help the chambermaids manage their exhausting schedules. Some scholars believe the melodies are older than the pyramids themselves, linking them to prehistoric Nile Valley cultures. Amid the gentle singing, you notice a small, worn drum resting nearby, adorned with carvings of falcons and scarabs. It's used sparingly, only during the most sacred moments, to mimic the heartbeat of the earth and remind the chambermaids of their connection to the land. As the song draws to a close, you realize the lullabies serve as a subtle form of resistance too, an act of preserving identity and community in a world that often tries to silence women's voices. Later, as you retreat to your quarters, the lullaby's melody lingers in your ears like a soft echo. You wonder about the unseen spirits it comforts, and whether one of them might be the elusive sleep serpent you heard about days ago, weaving its silent magic through the palace's dreamscape. The night deepens, wrapped in song and shadows, and you feel a strange peace settling over the palace, a quiet promise that no matter what tomorrow brings, the lullabies will always sing you home. As night thickens over the palace, a different kind of ritual begins, the preparation for the pharaoh's dreams. This is no ordinary sleep, it's a deliberate ceremony, involving the chambermaids in roles both mysterious and essential. Tonight, you are part of the dream weaving, a process designed to guide the pharaoh into visions that shape his rule. The chambermaids gather in the inner chambers, where silken drapes hang heavy and incense coils lazily in the air. You are handed a delicate bundle of herbs, blue lotus, mandrake, and a curious plant called silphium, now long lost to history but once prized for its soporific qualities. The scent is intoxicating, a sweet, almost otherworldly perfume that seems to blur the edges of the room. Your task is to sprinkle these herbs into the pharaoh's pillow and bedding while softly chanting ancient prayers, weaving sound and scent into a tapestry meant to cradle the ruler's mind. Hennet explains that the herbs are chosen not just for sleep but to encourage prophetic dreams, visions from the gods that offer guidance, warnings, or even divine favor. Historians still debate the exact role of dream weaving in Egyptian court life. Some argue it was a form of early psychological therapy, while others suggest it was deeply spiritual, connecting the pharaoh directly to the divine realm. The debate continues, much like the soft, endless flow of the Nile itself. You notice that each chant is carefully measured, neither rushed nor too slow, creating a rhythm that seems to pulse with the heartbeat of the palace. The chambermaids exchange quiet glances, a subtle reminder that this is sacred work. One misstep could disrupt not only the pharaoh's rest but the fate of the kingdom. Between chants, you watch the flicker of torchlight cast strange shadows, imagining the sleep serpent weaving unseen threads of silver through the night air, binding the pharaoh's dreams to the realm of reality. As you finish, the chamber is filled with a profound stillness. The scent lingers, sweet and heavy, wrapping around you like a soft cloak. You wonder if the ancient power of these herbs truly guides the pharaoh's visions, or if it is the faith of those who tend the ritual that holds the re. You lie down later, still breathing the fragrance, feeling the boundary between waking and dreaming blur ever so gently, as if you too are part of this secret, silent world. The night deepens and the palace grows quieter, but the chambermaid's duties are far from over. Now comes the delicate art of silent vigil, a practice where a chosen few remain awake beside the pharaoh's chamber to guard his sleep against disturbances, both natural and supernatural. You find yourself among this select group, nerves tingling beneath your calm exterior. This vigil isn't just about physical protection, it's steeped in spiritual significance. The chambermaids believe that sleep is a vulnerable state when the soul can wander, and the palace, despite its grandeur, is no stranger to restless spirits. You clutch your small amulet, carved with the image of Bes, the protector god of households and childbirth, hoping it will shield you from unseen dangers. The room is thick with the scent of lotus oil and the faint crackle of the fire in the brazier. Your eyes scan the shadows, watching for any flicker of movement. The silence is punctuated only by soft whispers and the rhythmic breathing of your fellow watchers. Interestingly, historians still argue whether these vigils were primarily religious observances or practical guards against real threats, perhaps palace intrigues or nighttime pests. Some texts hint at dream thieves, malevolent spirits said to steal peaceful sleep and replace it with nightmares, but the line between myth and reality remains blurred. To pass the time, the chambermaids share stories of the sleep serpent, an elusive spirit believed to crawl along the palace walls, weaving dreams or nightmares depending on its mood. Some say the serpent protects the pharaoh's rest, while others whisper that it punishes those who displease the gods. As the hours crawl by, you feel your eyelids grow heavy, but the weight of duty presses you to stay alert. A faint rustle at the edge of the room sends a shiver down your spine. Was it just a loose curtain, or something more? You remind yourself that fear is the mind's way of sharpening focus, and that the presence of Bes is a comforting thought in the dark. Eventually, as dawn's first light peeks over the horizon, the pharaoh's breath deepens, signaling a restful sleep. The vigil ends, and you let your own exhaustion wash over you, feeling oddly proud to have been part of this silent, sacred watch. Dawn stretches slowly across the palace, and with it comes a different rhythm, one that blends waking, ritual cleansing, and preparation for the day ahead. As you join the other chambermaids in the cool courtyard, the morning sunlight filters through date palms, casting shifting patterns on the stone. The first task is the water of renewal ceremony, a ritual bath not just for the body but for the spirit. You step into a basin filled with water scented with lotus blossoms and crushed almonds, feeling the coolness wash away the residue of sleep and dreams. The water is said to carry the power of the Nile itself, renewing the soul and cleansing away any lingering shadows from the night. You learn that the pharaoh's chambermaids follow a strict bathing routine, using various oils and balms applied in a particular order, olive oil for softness, myrrh for healing, and a mysterious, pungent resin called kifi, believed to purify both skin and soul. The slow, methodical application is as much a meditation as a beauty regimen. Interestingly, historians still argue whether kifi's aromatic qualities were mainly for pleasure or had medicinal properties that helped ward off illnesses common in ancient Egypt. Some texts describe it as an early form of incense therapy, while others hint at its role in spiritual protection. As the morning unfolds, you watch the interplay of light and shadow across the palace walls, imagining how these rituals have echoed through centuries. You catch a glimpse of a small bronze mirror, its surface cloudy but still gleaming with the reflections of past chambermaids, and wonder what secrets it might hold. Between the steady rhythm of splashing water and soft laughter, you hear a whispered tale about a hidden garden where chambermaids once gathered to pick rare herbs used in their rituals. The garden is said to bloom only under the full moon, its petals glowing faintly in the dark. The idea of such a secret, luminous place adds a gentle magic to the morning's routine, a reminder that even the most mundane moments in the palace are touched by mystery and wonder. You step from the water feeling renewed, your skin fragrant and your mind calm, ready to meet the day's unfolding story. The sun climbs higher, casting a warm glow over the palace as you slip into the more ordinary, yet no less essential, duties of the chambermaid's day. Among these is the meticulous care of the pharaoh's bedding, a task that might seem mundane but carries its own quiet significance. You move carefully through the chambers, smoothing the linen sheets woven from flax harvested along the Nile, the fabric soft and cool beneath your fingertips. The bedding isn't just about comfort, it's believed to influence the pharaoh's dreams and rest, with cleanliness and texture playing subtle roles in the quality of sleep. There's an old story shared quietly among the chambermaids about how a poorly laundered sheet once caused the pharaoh to have restless, troubling dreams for an entire week. Ever since, the ritual washing and airing of the bedding have been treated almost like a sacred rite. You help spread out the linens on a low wooden frame, letting the desert breeze carry away the day's dust and the weight of palace secrets. Historians still argue whether the Egyptian obsession with linen was purely practical. Linen's cooling properties are undeniable, or if it had deeper symbolic meaning linked to purity and rebirth. Some even suggest the fine threads were thought to weave protective magic into the pharaoh's rest. You pause to consider the scents used in laundering, the subtle hints of juniper berries, dried mint, and a rare flower called the sleep lily, which you'd never heard of before. Chambermaids who gathered these flowers from distant oases swore they helped to ward off nightmares and invite peaceful dreams. As you finish, the air fills with the crisp, clean fragrance of fresh linen, and you can almost feel the soft embrace waiting to welcome the pharaoh back to his dreams tonight. It's a reminder that even the smallest acts, folding, smoothing, scenting, hold power in this world. You smile, remembering the soft murmur of the lullabies from the previous evening, and realize that everything here, from song to scent, from herb to sheet, is part of a delicate dance designed to cradle sleep itself. The day moves toward its close, and you find yourself drawn into the evening offerings, a quiet ceremony that honors the spirits who watch over the pharaoh's rest. In the cool twilight, the chambermaids gather small bowls of honey, figs, and spiced wine, arranging them carefully on low tables near the bedchamber door. You learn that these offerings serve as gentle invitations to the protective deities, a way of thanking them for guarding the palace through the night. Each item holds symbolic meaning: honey for sweetness and preservation, figs for fertility and abundance, and wine for joy and connection between the earthly and divine. As you place the final bowl, a faint breeze stirs the drapes, carrying the scent of frankincense and myrrh, the classic perfumes of the Egyptian night. The atmosphere feels charged with reverence, a delicate balance between human care and supernatural respect. Historians still debate whether such offerings were primarily spiritual acts or practical measures to maintain harmony and order within the palace. Some suggest they helped the chambermaids mentally prepare for the long night ahead, creating a sense of ritual and stability. Nearby, you overhear a whispered story about an ancient queen who was said to have communicated with her ancestors through these very offerings, receiving wisdom in her dreams that shaped the kingdom's future. You glance toward the flickering lamps and wonder if the sleep serpent might be watching, pleased by these tokens of devotion. The legends say it favors those who honor the unseen, weaving more peaceful dreams for them in return. As darkness fully envelopes the palace, the chambermaids retreat to their quarters, the lingering sweetness of the offerings mingling with the cool night air. You feel a gentle calm settling deep within you, a shared secret between you and the countless women who have walked this path before. The palace prepares to breathe, to dream, and you, nestled in the quiet heart of it all, begin to drift softly toward your own rest. Night deepens again over the ancient palace, and your thoughts turn to the whispered legacies left by those who served before you, the chambermaids whose hands and hearts shaped the pharaoh's rest in ways unseen but deeply felt. You find yourself reflecting on the quiet power of their work, the delicate balance between duty and devotion, secrecy and trust. In this final stretch, you revisit the tales of the sleep serpent, the dream weaving, and the sacred offerings, weaving them into a tapestry that feels as alive as the Nile's eternal flow. You ponder the odd herbs gathered beneath moonlit skies, the soft chants echoing through marble halls, and the vigilant watches held in near silence. There's a softness to the palace now, a peacefulness that only centuries of ritual can bring. You breathe in the mingled scents of lotus, myrrh, and honey, feeling the gentle weight of history pressing quietly against your skin. Historians still argue whether these sleep rituals were primarily spiritual ceremonies or early forms of psychological comfort, but in this moment, it hardly matters. You feel the truth in the shared humanity, the need to feel safe, cherished, and soothed as the mind slips away. The night hums softly around you, a lullaby without words. You think of the chambermaids who, through centuries, have whispered prayers, tended linens, and watched over dreams. Their voices, though silent now, seem to linger in the air, a calm breath in the endless dark.